Yeah, I just did a presentation on this, and the whole thing was on when to use your iPhone as your second camera. Because I used to carry a second camera. I would go on vacation, I would take a body and another body, right? I'd take two bodies. And I stopped taking that second body about 2 years ago. And I just don't take it anymore. And people are like, what happens if your mirrorless, breaks down? And I pull out I got a 48 megapixel camera right here. I'll be using this one. It's 48 megapixels, it's good to go. And there are things that it does way better than what your mirrorless or DSLR does, way better. There are times where it works better. Can I give you one example?
Absolutely.
You ever try to do a time lapse on your mirrorless?
Oh, it's a pain in the butt.
Do a time lapse on your phone.
It's easy.
It's one button. You just go to time lapse and go.
As soon as you're finished, it's
go.
in there.
And when you're done, it's done and it's done.
And you can email it out right away.
Yeah, you can upload it. You can email it. There's no post-processing.
Yeah.
There's no doing math. Because the first thing that your mirrorless, which will do it, wants to know is, what's the math? And it doesn't try to figure it for you. It asks you, how many frames do you want over what period of time? And on your phone, it's just like, go. That's just one.
And
you might
got
think,
to blend exposures. You got to change
what about panos?
Shadows and highlights.
Oh, that's what I said.
Nighttime functions.
Yeah.
The panos are fantastic. Because number one is, it works better than you'd think because it always says slow down. You don't have to slow down. You can go as quick as you want. I had this guy showing me this. I was at a workshop and this guy was like a real iPhone aficionado. And he was showing me all these things about panos, and he had all these cool things he was doing. He was really into panos. And he's like, forget what? And he would show me, I'm like, holy crap. He goes, see how it says slow down? I go, forget that. Just ignore that. And he said, that used to be a thing when panos first came out. He says, now you could things. And he was doing crazy stuff with it. And he was doing these ones where he just holds it and puts himself in the shot and all that. He had so many cool things he was doing. But anyway, panos is one where it stitches it does everything. It doesn't ask you any questions. It doesn't need Lightroom. It doesn't need Photoshop. It just does it, and it looks great. And you'll shoot more of them because shooting them on a DSLR or mirrorless requires you to follow these 6 steps to get a good pano. Or on the phone, you just switch to pano and shoot, And you can do vertical panos, and you can do backwards panos. I showed that in my iPhone, one of my iPhone classes is how to do a backwards pano because you don't have to go from left to right. You can go from right to left. You can go from top to bottom. You can do all kinds of stuff.
What I found amazing is the nighttime function where you're taking a 3-second exposure and yet it's all coming out sharp. I still don't get quite how that works. But
well, I guess it takes a burst of photos behind the scenes that you don't see.
And it's merging them all
and
together.
It merges them and finds the best one.
And it's also averaging out the
and
noise.
It's synchronizing
averages
them
out
also.
the noise.
I mean, it's computational photography.
Crazy.
And technically, we have been doing, what it does in night mode, us as astrophotographers have been doing that for years. So people go, well, it's not photography. It's like, well, actually, that's what astrophotography is. If you're taking a deep space image, you're stacking up a bunch of data and then averaging out the noise, increasing the sharpness. That's what you're doing. Now your phone does it. And it's crazy your phone does in night mode crazy stuff. Like the Samsung and the Google have an actual tracking mode where it'll track the night sky and merge the night sky over 4, 7, or 10 minutes. That's something the iPhone can't even do.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy what the phones will do.